Let's be honest, AI hype is absolutely everywhere right now. But if you're an operator, someone actually in the trenches, you're probably asking a pretty fair question. Where are the results? We're going to dive into that because there is a massive gap between what AI promises and what it's actually delivering for businesses.
And that really gets us to the heart of the matter, right? Why are so many of these well-intentioned, often very expensive AI projects just falling flat? It's a huge concern, and believe me, you're not alone in wondering about this. The data actually paints a pretty stark picture. So get this, Gartner predicts that by the end of 2025, a full 30%, 1 in 3 of all generative AI projects are going to be completely abandoned after the proof of concept stage. Just think about that. That is an incredible amount of wasted time, money, and energy. And if you think that's rough, check this out. A recent PwC survey of CEOs found that 56%, more than half, reported no meaningful benefit from their AI investments. And only a tiny 12% were actually seeing real gains in both cost savings and new revenue. So what on earth is going on here? Well, here's the thing, and this is the most important takeaway. It's not the technology's fault. The AI models themselves aren't necessarily bad. The failure is in how we're choosing them. Too many teams are getting sold on a slick demo and buying tools without any kind of disciplined, structured process.
And that is exactly where this framework comes in. It's called Due Diligence, and it was built by the Rushtree AI optimization team. The best way to think about it is as your practical, step-by-step checklist to make sure you pick the right AI tool, one that's actually going to deliver real results. So let's break it down letter by letter.
All right, first up, D is for decide. Before you even think about looking at a single AI vendor, you have to decide what business outcome you actually want. Are you trying to cut down on errors, increase your sales close rate, maybe lower your customer support ticket volume? You have to define the result first and then ask if AI is even the right tool for the job.
Next, U is for understand. And listen, this one is a biggie. You have to ask vendors, when this tool gets it wrong, what does wrong actually look like? And how often does that happen? Seriously, understanding how it can fail is every bit as important as seeing it succeed in a demo. E is for evaluate, and I mean really evaluate. You have to forget those polished, canned sales demos. They don't mean anything. You need to test these tools with your actual work. Bring your company's real emails, your internal docs, your support tickets, and those tricky customer scenarios. It's the only way you'll know if it's going to work in the real world. The second D in our framework is for define. This is all about setting clear, non-technical rules for what success looks like. Your pass-fail standards shouldn't be about code or APIs. They should be simple business terms, like it must cite its sources, or it must never ever invent company policy, or it must reduce customer handle time by 30%. Plain and simple. Okay, next up is I for inspect. This is where you really get to put the tool through its paces. You have to stress test it with the messy, painful stuff. What happens when it gets incomplete info, or a really angry customer email, or a weirdly formatted document? These messy edge cases are where projects fall apart, so you have to inspect them up front. L stands for limit. You've got to limit the blast radius for when things go wrong, because they will. Look for tools that have smart guardrails built right in. Things like requiring a human to approve a high-stakes action or having a super simple way to hand off a complex problem to a person. The second I is for integrate. This is absolutely critical. You have to make sure the AI is pulling its answers only from your approved, controlled sources. Your official knowledge base or your standard operating procedures. This is what keeps it from just guessing or, even worse, making stuff up. G is for guard. This is all about security. You need to get comfortable asking vendors some tough questions. How do you stop people from hijacking our prompts? How do you prevent our data from leaking out? What kind of audit trails can you show me to prove our data is actually safe? The second E stands for ensure. And you have to remember the old saying, garbage in, garbage out. It has never been more true than with AI. Bad, messy, or duplicated data will absolutely wreck your results. You need a solid plan for data hygiene before you let an AI tool anywhere near it. N is for negotiate, and I'm not just talking about the price tag. This is about negotiating the operations. Who on your team is going to be responsible for monitoring the AI's quality? Who owns making changes and improvements? How will you even know if its performance starts to dip?
You've got a plan for how this thing will be managed long term.
C is for compute. It is so easy to get fixated on that monthly subscription price. Don't do it. You have to compute the true cost per outcome. What does that mean? It means calculating the cost per resolved support ticket or per converted lead. And, this is critical, factoring in the cost of any mistakes the AI makes along the way.
And finally, the last E is for escalate. And let me be clear, this one is completely non-negotiable. For any sensitive workflow, anything involving legal, financial, or safety decisions, you must have a clear, required path to hand it off to a qualified human being. The AI can assist, but the human has to be the one who decides, period. Okay, so that's the framework. But knowing the letters is one thing. How do you actually use it? Well, it all comes down to creating a simple, repeatable process for vetting these tools. Here's how simple it can be. Step 1. Pick just 3 key workflows you want to make better. Step 2. Build a test pack of 20 to 50 real-world examples and make sure to include those ugly edge cases we talked about. Step 3. Run 2 or 3 different vendors through that exact same test. Finally, pilot the winner for 2 weeks, measure the heck out of the results, and then make a data-driven call. Either scale it up or kill it.
And this is really the difference it makes. The common outcome, without a process, is that shrug of the shoulders and, yeah, we tried AI. But the disciplined outcome, when you use a framework like this, is a powerful, confident statement. AI is now a reliable advantage for our business. Which one would you rather say? So now you have the framework and a simple process to put it to work. But let's be real, running a disciplined process like this takes time and focus. And if your team is already stretched thin, it can be a real challenge. The good news is, you don't have to go it alone.
You know, whether it's a champion you assign internally or an expert partner you bring in, having someone dedicated to this process is absolutely key. It ensures you save time, you avoid all those common pitfalls, and you run a pilot that's truly structured. This kind of objective approach leads to a much more confident decision and helps you set up the monitoring you need to get long-term value.
The team at Rushtree AI are the ones who actually developed this framework, and they've made themselves available to help organizations put it into action. So if you'd like to learn more right from the source, you can reach them by emailing support@rushtree.com. Just put due diligence in the subject line, or you can text the phrase due diligence to the number right there on your screen. So let's end on this one crucial thought. Making smart, disciplined decisions about AI, it's not just another task on your to-do list. It is the bridge between all that hype and actual, tangible results. Taking action on AI due diligence right now is how you secure the future success of your company and of your people. Their success really depends on it.